Well, hello and welcome to episode 25 of The Hive. I can't believe we've done 25 of these during 2020 and we are now about to record our last one for the year. Hooray! And roll on 2021, I think. So this is our second Hive episode in our new format. So just to remind you how it kind of works, each one of our panellists is going to do a brief 40-second or so response to the question which is today's theme, which I will tell us in a moment, and you'll be able to watch the full thing on YouTube as normal, but all of the short clips will be available as short clips on Twitter and LinkedIn, so you can kind of take your pick as to how you listen to our words of wisdom. And our words of wisdom today are going to be on the topic of what is our one silver lining to come out of this year's pandemic crisis. And so I don't know who wants to go first, and you may notice that we're all looking quite ridiculous because obviously this is the last episode of the year. So
and also I'm back. I haven't done 20 episodes,
and we haven't welcomed you back, Charlotte.
No, I put my sparkly top on and everything.
You did, and look, and you made us go and look ridiculous as well. So thank you for that.
Special. I'm just here for the Christmas special. I'm like Keith Chegwin. I just come in once a year now to brighten your lives.
I'm like Joe Brand.
I'm Noel Edmonds.
I must be John Wayne or somebody.
Yeah, aka Marion, I think his first name really was, wasn't it? Which always makes me laugh. Anyway, okay, so we're going to do what is our one silver lining to come out of the COVID crisis. Who wants to go first?
I can if you want.
Go on then, Jo.
I think it's that whole seismic shift of digital adoption that hadn't happened before. There was, digital was coming along, some people were taking it up, some people weren't, some people were using it really well, some people weren't, and then all of a sudden everyone had to really go for it. And whether that was for Zoom calls and working remotely, or the biggest example to me is the NHS and the fact that we're in a pandemic, we've got loads of stuff going on, and yet it's actually, I think, comparatively easy to get help from your local GP surgery and using 111 and places like that because they've adopted technology. And I was talking to a practice manager today, and she was saying that actually part of the thing for them about the shift was actually that the patients wouldn't use it before, and they didn't see it as personal, and they were a bit older and all that sort of stuff, and they've had to use it, which gave the organisations the opportunity to adopt it themselves much more than they did in the past. So I think that's going to be massive for the future.
Okay, great stuff, lovely. Okay, Charlotte, what is your one silver lining to come out of this year's crisis?
Okay, so for me, I think it has possibly chime the death knell for the corporate voice. Ding dong, the corporate robot might finally be dead. The pandemic made leaders come out from behind of their desks. They weren't able to frame things in their normal corporate business voices. They needed to be authentic, they needed to be real. Organisations are now finding their own voice. Conference I chaired back in September, Internal Communications Conference, David Manning of the BBC said exactly this. They're now finding their own voice. So for me, it's the death of the corporate voice.
Thank you. And Lorna, what's your one silver lining to come out of the COVID crisis?
That it is okay and in fact necessary for organisations to talk about kindness, compassion. Are people okay? Are we looking after people? Before well-being and kindness, I think, had felt a little bit like a nice to have or an afterthought, and putting it right at the heart of organisations, and actually realising that physical well-being and emotional mental well-being are one and the same thing, and organisations going, no, we want to make sure our people are okay, and actually people holding them to account to do so. I think may that never go back to how it was before.
Excellent, thank you. And let me round it up then with my one silver lining. Has been the way that organisations who have spent years, sometimes years, denying that they could ever allow their people to work flexibly, that sort of refusal to accept that there could be any other way to work other than the commute to work, be there from 9 to 5:30 or obviously often very much beyond that. And almost overnight, a realization that actually survival demanded they embrace a different way of working. And so that flexibility, I think, is the biggest thing that I've seen, and you know, let's hope that that is here to stay, and that we won't be sort of rewinding the clock. So that's lovely. Those are our snippets. Let's just perhaps talk about some of those things in a little bit more.
Can I just add something to that, Jo? Because I was going to choose the flexible working, but actually I was going to come at it from a slightly different angle. And this is about the idea that it's democratized career opportunities for men and women, in terms of the jobs, the big jobs that were previously unable to be held by women with children who didn't want to have a full-time nanny looking after the dogs down. Looking after their kids can now get those big jobs, and I think this is a massive opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. Although that being said, what I wanted to sort of expand on this point as well is I saw a thing on Twitter this morning, a report from the Flexible Jobs Index for 2020, and we're not out of the woods, I think is the point, because what they had noted that in 2019 in the UK, jobs advertised as flexible, 15% of jobs being advertised were being advertised as flexible. In 2020, that has risen to 22%. Now that's a big leap. That's a 15% increase. No, I'm completely wrong. They're up from. No, where am I? They were up. Yeah.
You've been on the sherry, love.
Just make it up, Jo.
Keep it going. 2019, 17% of jobs were advertised as flexible. In 2020, that has increased by 15% to 22%, which is still not a lot, is it? So,
but hang on, no, but you're getting me wrong. What I don't mean is flexible jobs. I mean we're able to flex our lives around. So we don't have to have a flexible job. We just need to have a job that we're able to do equally from home and in an office space.
Absolutely.
And then we can flex our lives around. And actually, you don't even need. It's just not necessarily even need kids. It's a whole redressing of a work-life balance.
You don't need kids. That's good. But I think what you're both saying sort of differently, and it's not the same thing at all really, is that yes, there should be more opportunity, but Jo's saying actually there doesn't seem to be as much opportunity as you would imagine. And I wonder if many organisations are still in crisis mode, thinking this will be different in a few months' time,
that they can just turn the clock back.
Lots of organisations are still in denial. I'm still hearing when this goes back to normal, we come back to the office. Exactly. And I'm still seeing organisations that are going, well, that's a job that really we need to bring back and make sure they're in the office at least, 2 days a week or 3 days a week.
I think it's a different picture depending on who you talk to, because the organisations I've talked to have said this is a line in the sand. Our automotive clients, for example, are not having people back full time ever again. My
husband's insurance company, they shut their office from day one and said it wasn't ever opening again. I think we talked the other day, we were on a call, Jo, weren't we, with David McLeod, Nita Clark and some other people from Engage for Success, and we were talking about how it's polarised. It's like the really good companies are doing things differently and have got a plan for doing things differently moving forwards with the opportunity, and the people who weren't doing it very well are doing it just as badly and expecting it to all go back to normal. And of course it's not going to, it's going to go to something, and they're not going to be ready for it, or they're certainly going to cling on to what they've done in the past, and they will continue to be not so good companies. And I think it's starting to really shift those two types of organisations apart, isn't it?
Yes.
And your example just there, Lorna, you've got the ones that are not doing so well in your experience. You, Charlotte, are saying you've got a different experience, and actually those are two quite different perspectives in the same world.
And I think you're going to see that in your example, Lorna, about compassion, aren't you? That there are those organisations who innately believe that it's a good thing, and then there are going to be those who think it's all a bit wishy-washy and namby-pamby, and can't we go back to the good old days?
Well, and I don't even know that they're that conscious about it. So I think one thing I've noticed in the past couple of weeks is there's a number of organisations who are kicking off redundancy processes, and they're saying things like, this was in train, or this is not due to COVID, this is due to business reasons that have happened around it. And of course, what they're missing is an opportunity to be compassionate towards people, to shift a gear in the way that they think about business decisions, and even if they have to make a hard business decision, to change the way they may have done it to make it more compassionate and more human, and therefore protect their brand internally and externally, and look after people. But I think some organisations just really struggle to shift themselves out of that inhuman mindset, and some of them just need a little nudge and an excuse, and they've run with it. And I think that's the positive, and they will lead the way. That's where people will want to go and work. Those are the businesses that will thrive and succeed. So the laggers will have to catch up or die at some point. The brilliant thing is that the leaders have got an opportunity to lead, which is fantastic.
Well, and actually something really interesting that Mike Waddington, who is head of comms at one of the NHS trusts, and I was listening to a panel debate that Jo was chairing the other day, and he was saying that what he's noticed in his trust is that what they've been trying to do with internal communications for years, you know, get people all kind of, you know, rallied round a common goal, a shared mission, kind of looking out for each other, realizing they're all in it together and giving pride in what they do. This, for his little silver lining, was that this crisis has literally just done that for them. Suddenly they are pulling together, rallying round, really driven by the, you know, the vision and mission in a way that, you know, they've tried to do for donkeys. So his challenge is how he now maintains this momentum.
Absolutely. Yeah. And do you think it's a generational thing, Lorna, coming back to your point? Do you think there's a, you know, is there a tranche of managers and leaders coming on up who get all of this stuff, and with time it will, you know, we'll get to a good place? Or do you not think it's as simple as that?
No, I don't. I'm thinking about the clients that I've worked with and the people that I've spoken to, and I think it's a mindset thing more than a generational thing. I know somebody in their, I'm going to take a guess and he's going to be really cross with me, but probably in his late 50s, who is in a very traditional industry, who's a huge advocate of both compassion and flexible working, and very traditional manufacturing industry, and he is leading the way. And I've spoken to some younger kind of, I would say, what, Gen X, Gen Z leaders who are now leading organisations and large teams, and they are struggling with trusting people to not work in the office, with taking decisions that can be compassionate and commercial at the same time, and bridging that gap. So I don't know that it's generational. I think it's mindset, and it's a little bit to do with, are we brave enough to do the right thing?
Yes. It's mindset. I think it's situational as well. It's experience. Whatever age you're at, what experiences you've had and are having will have that impact, and as you say, affect mindset on it as well.
So coming back to your silver lining, Jo, which was the extent to which people have had to embrace digital solutions and digital tools, and you use the example in GP surgeries, for example. Do you think we've knocked all the barriers down then now? Are they all, you know, are they all gone? Is it a brave new world out there for everyone to just embrace what tech can do?
No, not at all. I think there's many people who want to go back to face-to-face and are thinking they won't be doing any more Zooms once that's an option. I hope that's not the case, because I think, you know, I was on a networking meeting this morning and we were saying that there's so many people that go to those events that wouldn't be going if they were in real life, because they just wouldn't fit in with their lifestyle and their, you know, priorities, because they just would take up too much time and all that sort of stuff. So I really hope there's going to, you know, be all sorts of opportunities moving forwards. But I do think things like the GP surgery, for example, there's no reason for them to go back other than, you know, the patients kicking up. But I think once they've made the change, and that's the way it is around here, and it's better, I think they'll be able to just push through, and the patients will have to, you know, catch up really. But, you know, some organisations will go back to how it was, and, you know, that's a sad thing, I think.
I do think it needs democratising though. So I think those people who, you know, for example, those families who've struggled to do home teaching because their only Wi-Fi access is on 4G on someone's phone on the data plan, they're the same people in typically manual, low-paid jobs. Those people still deserve access to the same information and communication and support and guidance that, you know, their colleagues who've got laptops working at home have. So I think the next phase is, how do we democratise this and make, we've been talking about how you communicate and engage with people in different kinds of jobs for a long time, and you know, there's an opportunity here to then take that mindset to a little bit further as well, maybe.
Well, that comes back to Charlotte's point. How do you democratize? How do you communicate? How do you engage with people in different roles, different types of environments? It is all about the importance and the value of killing off that corporate robot, is about making your communication human and authentic and accessible, so that you do get to all of those audiences.
And I'm so pleased about that, because obviously, you know, at Woodreed, that's something that we've been so passionate about for so long, about using your human voice and not doing rational robot style communications. We know they don't work, we know they don't engage, we know they don't move people. And you know, it's like we've just kind of been like, yeah, we've been saying this for years. This is how you should be communicating. You should be using an authentic tone of voice, you know, aligned with your brand, not speaking like a corporate robot. And it's like, hallelujah, you know. So you know, we will just keep pushing that now. We'll just keep pushing on that open door.
Yeah. So I think we've run out of time, ladies. So we actually all managed to come up with 4 things. We didn't plan it that way, so that was kind of good. Thank you for that. And apologies from my side of things for the brain freeze. I'm not good with statistics. Obviously, I was doing a bit of a Diane Abbott when it came to the numbers there. Apologies for the dog barking. And
yeah, apologies to my children. Did you hear my children kicking off?
No, I didn't hear that.
Screaming.
But someone's just
apologies for the headwear though.
Yeah, so we've just had hoovering. Someone's just gone and turned the hoover on as well. So all marvellous, all joys of work. Yeah, indeed.
25 in and we're so good at it.
So thank you everyone for watching and listening to The Hive this year. Thanks to Lorna Leeson, Jo Dodds, and great to have you back as well.
Do you think I'll be asked back again, or am I going to have to wait another 19 episodes?
No, we might let you come back. Thank you for all your contributions. It's been great fun. Let's hope we've got a lot more positive stuff to talk about in 2021. I'm sure we will. And happy Christmas, everyone, and a happy and healthy new year. Thank you, and bye-bye. Bye.